So this beautiful garden got a face. I mean, nothing fake about it either, because this is actually from a banana tree that I had that middle of December. We had that little heat wave, and then what happened was that kind of ruined the whole plant. I mean, I've got other banana trees that actually made it, but one didn't make it, so I took the roots and put some good use to it. Got a nice little power source over here, that clear quartz, and behind it, of course, this beautiful cutting where, I mean, you can see the plethora of grapes that I've got growing on this, and this is from an actual cutting of the main vine I have over there. I mean, it's grapes galore here. I mean, it's grapes everywhere, and this is from a cutting, successful cutting. I've got my pumpkins growing down there. I'm gonna have those pumpkins trail all the way out. I've got the watermelons behind it. Let me show you what those bad boys look like. And I want to give a shout out to somebody actually, because they made me aware of something that's pretty cool. Every time I come out here, I'm actually a little more mindful of it. And I remember I'm reading one of my comments, and that's from psychometric orgasmosis. He was talking to me about the birds, and one of the things I started to notice is that there's you know, I'm speaking, or I may be thinking of something, and the birds, I mean, you could hear the chirping change to some extent, but I don't know, man. It's just now I'm more mindful of it, and I think that's really cool. So shout out to you, psychometric orgasmosis. A young lion, love that shit. Young rich lion. All right, so I'm gonna make this video right now. I got a lot of, I mean, I'm gonna do a walkthrough of the garden, but that won't be right now. So let's talk right now a little bit about what I was talking about in my previous video. And here's the thing, what I was saying in my previous video was that it don't matter. Let's say, for example, I'm in a certain state. I was born and raised in New York City. I would have never imagined myself gardening, nor did I even have an idea of, you know, it's like I was clueless toward that actual territory, or that actual category of gardening. It just happened that I moved to the state down here in the South, and I just got into it. You know what I'm saying? I got into it. And what's funny is that this is something that can never go away. I mean, see, the thing is that let's say if I was to move back to New York, just because I know the feeling of gardening, I've had such a lucid experience here, I'm able to take this anywhere. It doesn't matter. And I'm still going to find myself to some extent gardening, even though we would think of New York as the concrete jungle. Believe it or not, it would be where it would present itself the opportunity for me to be in some way, shape, or form gardening in some type of land, only because I've already done it, and I can lucidly see myself doing that no matter where I go. You get what I'm saying? Now, there's different places on the planet, for example, where, you know, certain plants won't thrive because the growing seasons may be different and whatnot, but that's the whole thing, though. You can specialize in different things that you may want to grow, or you can actually build a greenhouse and you control the weather. However, I've always liked things as organic and natural as possible, but if it was ever a situation where I've had to do that, I mean, I'm very knowledgeable of how to do that. I would already know how to do that. You get what I'm saying? But you know, again, the richest country in the planet, you could look at it as the most fertile land on the planet. You get what I'm saying? And the whole thing is that everybody has the same opportunities. You're alive, but it's no accident where you're alive. You're a lucky person because you were born in the greatest country in the world. Regardless, if you see all the oppositions, I always say that opposition is actually opportunity. You know, there's a lot of opportunity in the opposition. Again, this is the reason why I even mentioned this. For example, one of the greatest reasons why it's the best moment to be alive, the age of information. I mean, we're using technology that's literally showing you exactly what your technology is all about. See, a lot of the things that you don't think you could do, you can actually do. I mean, there have been accounts of a lady who saw her child under a car, and she lifted a 3,000-pound vehicle and got the child, you know, up from under the car. But why is that? There was no mind involved. So you see how there's certain things you can actually, because if she started to think or put mind into it, I mean, she's got a programming of what her actual limitations of her human body is. However, when there's no mind involved and you run on pure adrenaline, pure instincts, I mean, the superheroes you see in movies and on TV, this is basically what you are. The Incredible Hulk, Superman, all these characters that you see were all designed out of your imagination. And the reason I say your imagination is because when we talk about universe, which means one verse, you're using all your systems, all your organs are working in harmony, creating one song. However, that one song you're creating, you're also creating the people, places, and things outside of you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you have to look at it as the universe that you are. You're observing the universe, which is a projection that you're putting out from your mind, the whole body as one universe. You see, you got all these organs, all these different sections of the body, all these chakras, co-governed by planets. All of them reside within you, and you're projecting it outside of you. You're experiencing different constellations, different stars, because everybody's a star. How do you activate that star power? This is why I brought up the Tony Ferguson example. He was one of my favorite fighters. But up until that 101 ranting that he did, I already knew it was like, wow, that's terrible. And why I even mentioned in the previous video how awareness is key, but too aware of certain things without actually thinking can be detrimental as well. See, he became aware that he was just a product. The company is using him as a product because he has star power. But what did he do with that star power is the key. That's why I actually gave credit to Conor McGregor. He was given the same exact opportunity, only he did something with it. You know what I'm saying? You don't complain, you do something with it. Make noise. You're here emitting a frequency. What kind of noise are you going to make? You get what I'm saying? What kind of noise are you going to make that's going to make you attractive? That's the whole thing. That's going to make you attractive, because you could be somebody that's pushing out, and that's why you got people that look cringy. You know what I'm saying? Like Henry Cejudo, who they call him the cringe master, because it's kind of like he's trying to be like Conor McGregor, but it's just kind of cringe because it's not natural. I didn't even know who the hell he was, and then all of a sudden you got all these people trying to be like Conor McGregor because they saw Conor McGregor's success. But at the end of the day, you just have to be your own person. Look at Khabib. Khabib didn't have to be like Conor McGregor. He was his own individual. He won. Here's the thing though. He had this aura of invincibility because his mind couldn't be infiltrated. He even went through the biggest mind warrior attacker, which is Conor McGregor, and even he couldn't get into his head. So the aura of invincibility I'm talking about is what people would call lucky, or, oh, that guy's got angels, you know what I'm saying, protecting him. It's more or less like this is coming from you. Because the thing is, like I made the example of Tony Ferguson, because of his mindset, he had this aura of invincibility before, and it's because he went in there and he was in flow, having fun. He was in flow. He was having fun. He was doing his thing. But up until he became aware that the system was using him a certain way, and now he has a chip on his shoulder, this is what kind of messed up his performance. He let that get into his head, and he let that take over him. He's on the what ifs and should haves rather than seeing the opportunity. You get what I'm saying? Maintaining that balance. He came outside of himself. It's kind of like when you're in a dream or out of body, you got to maintain a certain level of balance so you don't pop back into your body, right? But that's when you're exploring the outer realms beyond this dimension, which is all still you. You get what I'm saying? So now he went in and he has this chip on his shoulder, and he let that affect his performance. But the whole thing is, it didn't really affect his performance because he was doing his thing in the first round. I actually thought he was going to win. I was like, wow, the old Tony's back. Surprised. I was like, wow, this shit is fucking awesome. He was hemming up fucking Michael Chandler. But then look how it worked out, where Chandler had a weapon that he pulled out that he never even uses. Let's say if Tony Ferguson still had that aura of invincibility because his mind was straight, Chandler may have either missed, and he may have been in a position where, like, fuck, I can't get this guy for some reason. Like, nobody can really break Khabib's strategy, yet everybody goes into that fight knowing exactly what Khabib's strategy is going to be. He's going to do the same thing, take you down and maul you. So, look, when you see the fight between Carla Esparza and Rose Namajunas, one of the worst fights I've ever seen in UFC history. But the whole thing is that Rose Namajunas lost to Carla Esparza the first time because she got choked out. She got out wrestled. But yet she went into this fight not wanting to engage in her wrestling. So they ended up fucking becoming the most boring fight because Carla Esparza was attacking and Rose Namajunas was evading. See, the whole thing is, why not sharpen that wrestling tool? So if it happens to be where I can actually engage, and if it happens to be where she takes me down, I actually have some weapons for her to know what to do in the guard, to pass her, or to either submit her, or out wrestle her to some extent, sharpen my tools to actually make it a fucking fight. You get what I'm saying? I have the belt. I'm defending my title. I'm not going to run away. You coming at me, I'm going to have to destroy you. Yeah, and then you have the crowd. The crowd are the batteries. The crowd is basically, you got the energy. You get what I'm saying? They're the energy behind the, you know, what you're actually doing there in the octagon. So when you got something like this, but you're the one that sets this tempo, that's why Tony Ferguson, you get what I'm saying? It's like, yet he was doing very good that first round, but he still got clipped and he got caught because he was not there. He was not there. He was running. First of all, he's a better fighter than Chandler because Chandler's limited in his arsenal as far as striking goes. He's got a lot of fucking power though. You know, he's got a lot of power and he's fast. You know, but like I said, this is what happens. You get caught. Your mind ain't right. You're not there. You get what I'm saying? Even though you may not have seen the kick coming, the kick would have still missed you to some extent. You may have had an automatic flinch or like a fast twitch muscle just move out the way to some extent. Or he may have missed. It would have just worked out that way. You know, it would have just worked out that way. That's why whenever you're doing anything and you're well grounded and well rooted, that's why even like I made the example in my previous video, when it comes down to looking up information outside of you, look up the information outside of you, no different than if somebody was to go outer space and collect moon rocks. You get what I'm saying? You're going to bring them back and study them in the laboratory. Look at the major organ that you have with the most complex features, which is the liver. And look at the word liver. The liver is one of the most complex features, one of the organs with the most complex features, right? But it's the laboratory of the body, right? It literally processes everything. So now you got things that you're going to process, okay, into your system, okay? You know, you're basically consuming information. So when you listen to it, you process it. You study it. You see how it sits with you. The same way if you was to collect moon rocks, but you always got to come back home to your laboratory. You get what I'm saying? So, that's why, you know, and that's why I even mentioned in the previous video, when it comes down to where, you know, it don't matter. Look, I'm going to give you this one last thing that I'm going to talk about before I close this off. Metaverse, for example. One of the major downfalls of metaverse is that you won't be able to use your imagination anymore. It's perceived as something that is taking over your imagination, which is your most valuable tool, right? It's your most valuable tool. However, the fact that you can actually get into a realm and having a lucid experience, this is the beauty of virtual reality, is that if you can get into this this space where you can actually experience something, you can actually disconnect from it and go back to using your mind and have that lucid experience now to exercise what you, that's why it's no different than you test driving a Lamborghini. How could you know what a Lamborghini feels like and actually have a visualization about the Lamborghini if you don't even know what a Lamborghini looks like inside? Right? So it's like, it's the experiences is basically something that is gonna be the biggest opportunity here. So you know, the experience is beautiful. The kids always pass by and actually admire the face of the garden, the mask. You get what I'm saying? I like that. But the experience, you can actually firsthand experience whatever you want in this realm. Let's say we have limited means. Let's say you don't have a lot of money to travel and experience different areas, or because you're, you know, tied down to a job or whatever it may be. You have a family, you got a lot of distractions. You don't have the freedom to actually go and venture out into the world. You know what I'm saying? Then this is an opportunity now that you can use. You get what I'm saying? No different than Google Maps, but you're actually going to have a better lucid experience. Because in Google Maps, notice how you can basically look at the pictures of anywhere on the planet. Paris, Rome, whatever it may be. You could be like, oh, wow, look. But now you can actually experience it. But don't get lost in it. No different than you getting lost in a video game or a movie, or letting things like program you without you thinking, or mindlessly fucking eating. You get what I'm saying? You take your time and realize, stay conscious and aware that you're in an experience that you're using as a tool. You get what I'm saying? There's nothing that is it's a convenience. It's a service to people. You're actually observing the brilliant minds of certain individuals. You get what I'm saying? Even though there's perceptions that can be perceived to look at as unfavorable or negative, that it looks like AI is taking over. But, you know, it'll be that way for the people that actually... See, again, look, there's nothing happening out here. I'm projecting this whole thing. This whole world is me. The entire world is me. And it's the same thing with you. You know, here's the thing, though. A lot of people just... This is the key, is you think you're the body. But whenever... Look, I was laying there at one point, and I'm like... I feel like I'm playing a game of cat and mouse with my body. I'm trying to observe my body falling asleep. I have to wait till it goes to sleep just so I can sneak out. You get what I'm saying? And the body will actually even test you. You know? It'll start making your nose itch. It'll start making your eye twitch or itch, or your ear, and it'll make it an uncontrollable feeling just to see if you're actually awake. You gotta just stay still. You gotta just not even let that bother you. You get what I'm saying? It feels like somebody's rubbing a feather in your nose, which is fucking crazy, but stay the fuck still. Once that happens, in an instant, you start to feel vibrations throughout the body. Then you start to hear the fucking tunnel sounds in your ear. But maintain a very stable way. Just stay stable. Just stay very, very calm. Stay neutral. Don't get excited. Don't get scared. Don't get anything. Just stay very neutral. And then, although when you start observing that your body's asleep, you feel numb. You don't even feel it anymore. That's when you think of moving, and then boom, you pop out of your body, right? And then people get excited, and you end up popping back in again. But you know, this is the reason why I say you're not even your body. You hear what I'm saying? But it's still a layer, because the whole thing is that... I'll make another video on the... I think I've made a video on out-of-body experiences and whatnot. Even like thinking you could go outer space. And I've made a couple videos on that. You can actually look it up. Sleep paralysis, out-of-body experience, and, you know, inhabiting Mars. I've spoken about all that. But once you start to have that big picture of things, these little things that you're looking at here don't even look that big anymore. It's like somebody looks at $1 million and it looks like a lot of money, but once you acquire $1 million, that doesn't even seem like a lot of money anymore. You get what I'm saying? You got to just change your perception of things. You know, once you get to have a little taste of that big picture of things, those things that we perceive as so big and vast and, you know, so godly. I mean, you'll start to realize you're the god of this realm. Because everything out here are ideas, and we're selling ideas to each other. Even making videos, we're selling ideas to each other. You're listening to people's perception online when you're listening to a video. At the end of the day, you listen to the speaker, process the information, see what resonates with you, and put things to practice. Experiment. Then they can become your experiences. Somebody can be talking, like I can be talking. It may be an anecdotal claim, right? But then again, don't have expectations of things people tell you and how they are. Go in there as if you don't know what the fuck is going on, and you'll see that you'll have your own experiences. Anyway, I know I went all over the place with this video, but it's just, you see, sometimes if I overthink things, I may even forget what the fuck I'm saying. It's weird. It's just like an out-of-body experience, or like if I'm in an astral or a lucid dream, start to think, and boom, I pop back in my body, right? I'm talking sometimes, and I'm like talking, but then I start overthinking things or putting too much thought into something, boom, I forget what the fuck I was going to say. But whatever, that's why I sometimes just speak and let it come out. Sometimes I'll make a video, sometimes, very rarely, I'll take notes, and that's if I want to cover a topic and stick to that. But if not, then that's where I just basically talk. You get what I'm saying? And I love you, you love me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna love you more, because I'm experiencing my reflection, my mirror. You know what I'm saying? Versions of myself. So like I said, I appreciate everybody who likes my videos and watches them. I appreciate you highly, and you know, commenting or whatever it may be. I do appreciate you big time. I like doing this. You get what I'm saying? I like doing this as much as I like gardening. I'm studying the iridology. You know, I'm doing this practice in my immediate community I feel like I'm getting really, really good at this shit. You get what I'm saying? And the better I get, I want to be able to do this on a big scale. This is what I got brewing. I'm in the process of looking for land right now to either do something with what I just mentioned, or maybe garden or whatnot, or build my property there. See, I own the property I live in. I don't own the land though. So I've ended up putting a lot of things in containers lately because I want to be able to take these things with me. You know, we own both properties actually. They pay us rent. You know what I'm saying? But we don't own the land. You know what I'm saying? If I move from here, I'll rent both places out. And I'm still going to make a profit because I'm making income. I mean, the land, let's say if the land prices go up, I just raise my rent prices, whatever it is. But I want to have land to do something with it. That's what I'm in the process of doing right now. Location is key. So I'm looking for location. I'm looking for all that. But those are the little things I got brewing. This is literally the best time in history to be alive. Little things that I've noticed, I've manifested. For example, I remember there was a moment where I was starting my garden and I needed mulch, but then I went to Lowe's and Walmart and I'm like, fuck, this shit is fucking what, $5 a bag, and they got dyes in it, and I don't know, it's just I was like, I'll wait on it, you know. I don't want to, how many bags of mulch would I need to actually do what it is that I actually really wanted to do? And that's like have my whole fucking garden with wood chips, make it look like the forest. You know how many fucking bags of mulch I would have had to buy? And I waited it, but I still had that vision in mind. You know what happened? I ended up running into a guy who has a tree company, and you know, the conversation started was that I'm from New York and whatnot, and then I told him, yeah, I came over here, but I love it. I started something, like I started gardening. That's what I love about North Carolina, because he asked me, well, how do you like North Carolina? And I'm like, it's good, man. It's like another world, you know what I'm saying? I was in New York, it's one experience. This is a totally different experience. But then then I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm gardening now, and that's something I never even would have thought about doing in New York. He's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I meet a lot of gardeners, man. I was like, why? He's like, I thought he was a gardener. He's like, no, I own a tree company, and I take down certain trees that, you know, a lot of people do landscaping, so I take down the trees. And I was like, you take down trees? What do you do with them? He's like, yeah, I just chop them up and basically makes wood chips out of them, which is crazy. I was like, dude, how can I buy some from you, man? I've been looking for wood chips. He's like, oh, no, if you want, I'll bring you, you know, the wood chips. It's a pleasure for me. I mean, if I can get them off my hands, I mean, it's a big favor for me. Matter of fact, he has nowhere to put them sometimes. So it's a pleasure for him to get rid of them. He bought me 3 truckloads already of wood chips. But I feel like those are things I manifested. In the instant that I was getting it, I was so grateful that it started trickling down to other things. You get what I'm saying? Just maintaining that positivity toward the projects that you do. But I'm doing this with such love. And I was waiting, and I knew what I wanted, and it just happened to fall on my lap. You get what I'm saying? With really no effort. You know? But certain things, of course, would require you to actually put effort and put some work into it. But there's certain things that just happen to work in your favor. You hear what I'm saying? So I know that that's a pretty lame example, but I've had other experiences as well. But I've been able to coat this whole entire place up, not paying a single dollar. Matter of fact, I tried to give him a tip. He didn't even want a tip. Again, the Tony Ferguson thing. He could have got that front kick thrown at him. Somehow, some way, shape, or form, he would have missed. Some gravitational pull would have pulled Chandler's leg the other way, and he would have missed that kick. But that's just how I've seen things work. But anyway, this video is going to cut off. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and we'll talk soon.